Right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the third session of the second day of the Montana Tribal College Institute. Really excited that y'all were all able to join us. And without further ado, in respect for everyone's time, I'd like to turn it over to Lindy Warden from Salish Kootenai College.
Tatalach, everybody. My name is Lindy Warden. I'd like to introduce myself to you. I come from the Nimiipuu people, so I'm not originally from Salish Kootenai College. I am an enrolled member of the Nez Perce tribe. My title at the college is Assistant Director of Admissions. It's just now changing. I'd just like to say katsiayo, thank you to each of you, and it is an honor and a privilege to share this space with you today. So transition over to Juan.
Hi, my name is Juan Perez. I'm the Director of Admissions here at SKC. I'm just finishing up my 22nd year here at the college, and Lindy and I will kind of be hosting this session. So you'll hear from me some more in a little bit. So I would like to turn it over to our Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Affairs.
Esquex, Kisuhuitnan. My name is Anthony Berthelot. Juan's already introduced me as Vice President. I'm new to this position, and I just wanted to thank everybody on behalf of administration and all of SKC for allowing us to be part of this really great exchange of communication ideas and just keeping us connected as tribal colleges. So thank you.
Okay, so we'll get right into it. We have kind of a big schedule here, so we want to make sure we get everyone through. So Salish Kootenai College was chartered in 1977 by the Confederate Salish and Kootenai tribes. We're located in western Montana, halfway between Missoula and Kalispell. And if you haven't been over on this side, you can see in the picture here some of the mountains that we have. And this is one of the buildings here on campus. It's a sunrise that we caught one morning here. So we would like to invite you to our campus. You know, we have a lot of things we're going to go over today, and we just want to introduce you to our campus, and we will, you can get in touch with us, and we'll have some contact information in the chat box. So if you want to reach out, schedule a tour, schedule a visit, ask more questions, you'll be able to contact any one of us to help you with your questions. So SKC, the mission of the college is to provide a quality post-secondary educational opportunity and support for Native students locally throughout the United States. So that's what we're here for. We do say, for Native students, but we are open to anyone who wants to get an education here at SKC. So we, have around 600 students, and roughly about 80% are tribal, and then the remaining are non-tribal. So we, again, we welcome everyone here to SKC. All right, you're invited to join us at the college. And why do we want you here? Well, our class sizes are smaller. About 10 to 1 is an average student to teacher ratio. Some classes, maybe even a little smaller. So, we know that our students, when they come from smaller communities, they'll be a little more successful in these smaller classes than going to a university where there's a couple hundred students in one class. We have numerous support systems here at the college. You'll hear about some of them today. Free tutoring, that's huge for our students. We always need a little extra help, so we have that free tutoring here for our students. If you want to apply to the college, we would send people to our interested.skc.edu and just start with step 1 on that page, and that would start the application process. If you want more information about the college, again, we're going to highlight a few programs here, but we have a lot of different academic programs. You can always go to skc.edu, and up in the upper right-hand corner, there's an area for our academic programs, and you can really get more information about our academic programs there. There is no application fee, so we want to make sure we don't have any those kind of barriers for our students. If you have questions on the admissions process, you can always email admissions@skc.edu, and we will get right back to you as soon as we can. And we do have an application deadline, which is the second Friday before the start of the quarter. So we're on quarter systems here. So we have 3 quarters a year, and September 12th will be when fall quarter starts for us. So second Friday before September 12th will be our application deadline. And we are accredited by, we go through the same accreditation process as our mainstream counterparts do as well. A lot of different degrees we offer here. This year, we're pretty excited to offer a couple of master's degrees here at the college, one in natural resource management, and then we have one in education and curriculum and instructions with 2 different strands. As you can see on the screen here, we have 22 bachelors, 24 associates, 14 certificates. So it's a wide range of programs that we offer. And the next slide, I think, will list what our programs are. Tuition for a Montana resident is just over $1,600. If you're enrolled in a federally recognized tribe, our first generation descendant, our tuition is lower. And then if you're a graduating high school senior who is enrolled in a federally recognized tribe, we do have a tuition waiver also for those students, and they have to use it within 3 years of graduating from high school. I think our next slide kind of shows some of our programs that we offer here at the college. And again, we offer quite a few, and you'll hear from 3 of our academic programs today and some of the great things that they're doing in their programs. And just real quick before financial aid starts, I just want to make sure people know there was a question in the last session about how can employers contact students. Our career center here would be probably the best person to contact if you want to advertise for employment for our students. And Ava Arust is our director of our career center, and we'll make sure we put her contact information in the chat. And this year we're graduating 130. Right now we're at 137 graduates, conferring 144 degrees. So we have a pretty good graduating class this year. So with that, we will go to the next.
Hello, so my name is Sally Shields. I am the Academic Transfer Specialist here at Salish Kootenai College. So what I do is I take students' official transcripts that they send to us, and I process all of their general education transfers. So this is your math, English, etc. And then anything past that, I work with your specific department to make sure that everything transfers in the most productive way possible for you, if you will. There also are a lot of exciting opportunities for students who have received previous college credit. This could be any sort of dual enrollment credit. This could be through your AP scores that you've received from your AP tests. We have recently been making sure to take as many opportunities as possible from where students can receive college credit and implement those to make sure that you don't lose as many credits, that we keep as many credits for you as possible. So we have a way to implement as many AP scores as possible. We're also part of a program called Interstate Passport. And what this is an agreement between us and a whole lot of other different institutions. I'll pop the website for our Interstate Passport agreement in chat. This is where we can, if you have finished your general education credits, you can transfer those as a block from other institutions to SKC or from SKC elsewhere. So you make sure you don't lose any of those credits and that you have as efficient of a time, whether this be time-wise or financially, what have you, in your college experience. So you are absolutely welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions about transferring credits, if you want to be connected with any departments, if you have any questions in general. I'll either know the answer or know who to connect you with. So I'll also pop my information in chat. But yeah, thank you so much. And now we're going to talk with financial aid.
Hi, my name is Miranda Spotted Eagle, and I am the financial aid assistant here at Salish Kootenai College. I help students with their FAFSA, completing their FAFSA, completing their financial aid file. I also help with financial needs analysis to determine unmet need for like scholarships and higher ed, things like that. Just array of things. They need to visit studentaid.gov to complete the FAFSA. For next year, it'll be the 2022-23 FAFSA. So thank you. Have a good day.
Tracy, you're up next. Thank you, Miranda. Oh,
You have to
Tracy, you're muted.
Unmute, Tracy.
Welcome, Hex Quacks from TRIO program here at Salish Kootenai College. I'm so glad to be able to visit with you. What is the TRIO program here in Student Support Services? Well, we serve 230 students, college students a year by kind of providing a home away from home for them. And we really like you to come check out our program to see if you're eligible for this, because we have, we provide tutoring, we have computer labs to assist you with your homework and people to help you with things like that. We have all kinds of workshops. We put on workshops regarding careers, how to save money. You know, we all know how college students have such a tough time with, you know, making a dollar stretch. So we help you with that. We put on a lot of meals. We serve breakfast and sometimes lunch and sometimes late suppers over here at the TRIO program for students, just to kind of assist and help their dollar stretch. And we also really want you to be able to pay for college. So besides helping you, assisting you on how to fill out the FAFSA and learn all those skills, we also help you search for scholarships, because if there's a way you can land scholarships to help pay for college, we're all about that. So we look at that and help it with career choices that you might be having. So we provide career advising, academic advising. And let's say you started a program and you're not sure you want to stay in that program. Well, we have people in the TRIO program that just kind of visit with you and look at other options that we have on campus. Look at other degrees, because once you start here at our college, we don't want to let you go. We want you to keep going. And if there's a way we can assist you into moving on from your associate degree into your bachelor's degree, we're all about that. And then are you interested in going on for your master's? We help you explore those things also. And we have, you know, sometimes when you're in college, you know, you're starting out, you don't know a lot of people yet, you want to meet people. Well, we have a lot of activities to help you meet other college students. So you don't spend time being lonely at college. You have a place to hang. You have this kind of home away from home. And we discuss clubs and help you get involved in clubs. And is there activities on campus that you like to participate in? You know, these are things that we assist students with. So there's no silly question that you might have about college, or what does this mean on this sheet? What does this mean? What is my degree program all about? What does it say on this FAFSA form? What does this all mean? You know, we have people here to assist you with all those kind of questions that you might have. And it's a really cool place to hang out. So when you first start with us at our school, we want you to come up to Student Support Services, see if you're eligible, because we serve 230 students a year. And we'd love to help you out while you're going to college here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tracy. We'll transition into Kim with Department of Academic Success.
Hi, I'm Kim Barber, and I work in the Department of Academic Success. We have a team of 7 people here. Our mission is to help SKC students achieve academic success and progress toward the attainment of personal goals, while also helping them master some of the critical skills needed to be successful in school, work, and life. By employing a comprehensive research-based approach, we help students improve their core academic skills, most typically to prepare them for the HiSET, to gain or retain employment, and or to either persist in and complete a college degree or certificate programs. To help all students, particularly those with the most significant barriers, persist toward and achieve their college employment and life goals. Student services are academic success provided from DAS, first year student engagement, academic counseling, early alerts, on and off campus resources, onboarding and retention efforts, helping students with individual improvement plans when they're on either warning, probation, or suspension. We proctor tests here for NHA, CCMA, exit exams. Sometimes the nursing department comes over here and we proctor their tests. Our department also has community and campus outreach. We teach HiSET classes here, and we have campus, off-campus, and off-campus engagement. We do a lot of things here.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
And now we will transition to Tawny with housing.
Hi, good afternoon. So student housing, we have options for single students as well as families and students who are coming in with their spouses and things like that. SKC has a large number of non-traditional students, and so we have a number of housing options to accommodate those students. We have 42 dorm rooms, and they go for $825 per quarter with all utilities paid. They're a pod style room. So there's a kitchen and living room in the middle, 4 individual private bedrooms, and then 2 shared bathrooms. And each pod has a full kitchen with a full size refrigerator and stove and oven and microwave provided, as well as a couple other utilities, utensils, and things like that. Our family housing is for students who are coming with their families, children, and spouses. There's 55 of those from 1 to 4 bedrooms. They're between $350 and $500 per month, with the requirement that students also pay their electric bill. And those are both available for students for their full time that they're at SKC. There's also some free facilities in our housing, which include free laundry, a playground for students' kids to play on, secure fob access for the dorm, Wi-Fi, and within walking distance to classes. We also have been partnered with some of our other resources on campus during the COVID pandemic to provide food box delivery and things like that. So that's something that we're really excited about. Anyone can apply to housing, even if they haven't fully applied to SKC yet. That application is available through our housing website, which is housing.skc.edu. You can either download a PDF or fill it out online. There are a couple of extra documents that we request that you can add on. They're not required, but they increase your place on the wait list. And they include a copy of your tribal ID if you have one, or first generation descendant certification, a letter of interest stating why you're looking to live on campus, and then a letter of reference. Doesn't necessarily need to be from a previous rental. It could just be a character reference from like a coach or a counselor or something like that. And then a copy of transcripts with your most recent GPA. And those all factor into how our wait list is totaled. And priority tends to go based on a number of different factors, including those documents, as well as how long someone has been on the wait list. So we try to be as fair as possible to everyone. Housing is really limited, so we recommend getting in an application as soon as possible if you're interested.
Awesome. Thank you, Tawny.
Thank you.
Now we'll transition to highlight one of our student perspectives with Miss Kelly Bolton. Kelly, you're muted, I believe.
I keep forgetting about that mute button. So my name is Kelly Bolton. I traveled all the way down from Metlakatla, Alaska to attend Salish Kootenai College. Back in 2015, and after 27 years, I decided to return back to school to obtain a bachelor's degree. So I enrolled here at SKC, and as Juan stated earlier, there's 137 students graduating this year. I am one of those 137 students. I will be graduating with my bachelor's in forestry, forest management, as well as the wildlife and fisheries program. Each of these staff and faculty that have did their presentations earlier, every last one of these staff and faculty have had a huge impact on my academic career. One way or another, you know, they have helped me to get where I am here today. At one time, I was a TRIO student, and eventually I graduated out of the program, and I started working for TRIO under the work study program through EVA. And my passion is working with the students. I remember when I first came to campus, I saw myself as this shy, timid little girl. And after I was introduced to TRIO, I broke out of my shell and reached out and started working and helping and guiding students on what they needed, where to go, who to talk to here on campus. And so in a nutshell, I've been like an advocate for these students and helping them and guiding them to where they need to go. So that's my story.
Thank you, Kelly. It's a beautiful testimony of how accessible and achievable SKC is, even clear from Alaska.
Yep.
And now we will transition to the Division of Education, and we will have our Dean of the Education Program speak on that. So Doug, you're up.
Thanks, everybody. I'm honored to be able to be here with you today. My name is Doug Ruman. I've been at Salish Kootenai College in teacher education program since 2002. So this is my 20th year anniversary coming up. And prior to that, I was 15 years teaching in the public schools here on the Flathead Reservation. I want to say just a very brief overview of some of the programs that we have in our Division of Education. It is a vibrant and very active division on campus. We have quite a few students, well over 150 at this particular moment. A few broad comments, and then we can just learn a little bit about some of the program offerings that we have in our division. But just as a quick overview, there are teacher education programs in Montana, quite a few. There are 10 different colleges that offer training for teachers that lead to licensure. And of the 10, I would like to think, and I think I'm accurate in this, and I think our students would agree, one of the things that makes SKC particularly unique among all of them is that we do really emphasize research-based best practices that are geared towards thinking about cultural practices and language and what we call pervasive Indigenous praxis, not as something that we add on to curriculum in schools, but that we really build from the middle and then out. So I think that's an important distinction. And we like to think that our graduates, of which we've had quite a few now over the years, rather than just learning how to do things the way they currently are in public education, that they become agents for change and agents for positive student empowerment across pre-K all the way to 12th grade. So in terms of the programs that we offer, you can see my contact information there. They focus on this transformation from left to right that you see here, this bridges analogy that we've placed here on the screen. You can see these various aspects on the left-hand side, and we like to believe that our programs help our students to transition from those things listed in the left there. And through their experience here at SKC in the Division of Ed, they transform over to the things that you see on the right. And if I had a lot more time, I could go into more detail with that, but we really don't. So But those are very important sort of foundational ideas here in our department. So moving on to the programs that we offer, we started off back in the 80s, actually in the early 80s, 1980s, with early childhood education, and still have that program. It's now branched off into two different programs. Early childhood education prepares students to become teacher leaders in early learning centers, in Head Start environments, and preschools of different kinds, and also consultants in the area of early childhood education, associates and bachelor degrees in early childhood. The one program is birth to age 8, and the other program is what we call P3, which just means preschool to 3rd grade. And that second one, the preschool to 3rd grade, trains our students to work with kids ages 4 through 8, and then get licensed in public schools to be able to teach in public preschools all the way up through 3rd grade. The next program is elementary education, and it's our largest program. We have about 60 to 65 students in elementary education in all the levels. And this leads to licensure in the state of Montana to teach in public schools from kindergarten to 8th grade. So including middle school up through 8th grade in all subjects. It's a rigorous program, and our elementary education program also has an option that's called a native language emphasis. And so we've replaced some of the other course requirements with native language requirements as well. So that's the K-8 program. And then we have two different secondary education programs that lead to licensure in grades 5 through 12, so middle and high school. One is in secondary broad field science, and the other is in mathematics. And so you can become a middle or high school teacher in science or in mathematics with those two programs. And the next slide will show you the other remaining programs that we have. Our newest pre-K to 12 program is the Native Language Teacher Ed program here in the Division of Ed. And that program is filling the gap between having people on our reservation community who know the language very well, but are wanting to have more teacher skills, and the converse of that, which is to have people who are strong in their teaching skills and may even be carrying degrees, but are not strong in their language. So this program is an intensive immersion model of learning language, but you also learn classroom management, writing good lesson plans, working with your community and parents. So it attempts to address both of those issues. And then the last and most exciting thing for us right now is the master's degree that we just recently had approved and is starting in June of this coming year. So, or this coming June. So it's a master's in curriculum instruction, and it's broken up into two options. One is called integrative Indigenous education, and the other is called literacy, equity, and excellence. The second one of those excuse me, leads to a reading endorsement with the state. And the first is an intensive program that focuses on bringing culture and language into the curriculum in school. So that's an overview of the different programs that we have, and we're very happy to host people if they would like to learn more. My information was on that first slide with the Division of Ed, and super excited to work with you. You can see the way our faculty is laid out here. We have most of our faculty holding doctorates, and we have 2 administrative assistants that kind of keep our program running smoothly. So it's an exciting program to be a part of. These are some of the foundational things that we believe in our division, so you can kind of scan through there in the short term time that we have left. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to share with you some of these components of our division. And this slide just mentioned, that last slide just mentioned that we have a strong emphasis in field studies. Most of our students, all of our students in the Division of Ed spend a lot of time in the field working with kids, because that's the only way you get to be good at working with kids, is by working with them directly. So we have a lot of field-based work that students do. And with that, I'll turn it over to NAS. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Doug. Now we will transition over into Native American Studies Division, and the Dean of the NAS Division will present on that, Michael Munson.
Hesohal u kisuk kiukit, sorry. Misal Louis Quest. Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Munson. I am the Dean of the Division of Native American Studies. And it's exciting to be able to share all of the collaborative amazingness that's happening within our division right now. We have strong partnerships with the Division of Education for a few of the initiatives that they are, that Doug just shared. And so it's a fantastic transition into the Division of Native American Studies. We have 6 different programs that are highlighted within our division. The first, which you will hear more details about in a bit from Dean Nicolai, is the Tribal Historic Preservation Department. Dean and Ginger are doing fantastic things, all grounded in serving, preserving, and highlighting the amazing aspects of tribal culture, historically and contemporarily. So I'll let him speak more to that and the initiatives he has going on in a bit. The Tribal Governance and Administration Department was founded and became a reality at a request from the community. So that's the exciting thing about Native American Studies, is that we have 3 different programs that have been requested by community. And so this is one of them. Tribal Governance and Administration is meeting the need as requested by the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. What they found, the tribes have found, is that they have a very esteemed group of people who work in tribal governance at the, on the tribal level. However, we don't have very many people who are up and coming and moving into those roles as those folks are retiring. And so the Tribal Governance and Administration Program is providing the opportunity for educational training to help really support students in learning to serve in all of those various roles that you might serve in if you were in the tribal governance system. So it could be in finance, it might be in education, it might be in gaming, might be in natural resource, or in the many different areas that serve within the tribal governance system. So that's pretty exciting. And we are serving and have faculty who represent right now nationally. So that's pretty exciting. The Fine Arts Department was has been built also with community, collaboratively highlighting Native American studies and the amazing artists that are who are Native American as well. So we have a really exciting team that is collaborating with the Digital Design Technology Department. So when we think of the arts, they are kind of coupled together, fine arts and digital design, because they work so closely together. Digital design includes website development, includes designing graphics, doing marketing. It includes game design of both electronic and hard hands-on games. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with my words today. And so there's all sorts of things that it includes film and photography. And so really looking at fine arts and digital design and how we can incorporate Indigenous ways of being and serving our communities in culturally sustaining and revitalizing ways. Those are the foundations of the Fine Arts and Digital Design Technology departments. And then we have the SKC Media Center, which is led by Roy Big Crane. And Roy's goal is really to serve community through preservation and archiving, video footage, films, and all of the different culturally engaging, culturally appropriate resources that we have in terms of media. So we have access to those, and he oversees the archival aspects of those, as well as the SKC YouTube channel, which I just want to highlight. Check out the SK YouTube channel because you can find all of the films and other resources that are available there. And so Roy oversees all of that. The second or the sixth piece is culture and language studies. And this department is pretty expansive in the sense that this department is newly formed and integrates and oversees a multitude of culture and language specific areas. So Lindy, if you'll go to the next slide, that would be fabulous. So the Culture and Language Studies Department includes cultural arts classes, which are taught by our elder and up and coming cultural artists. So things like Sally Bag weaving, cornhusk weaving, silversmithing, reservation arts, and various other introduction to stone tool making and such. Also dance dress construction and beading, various levels of beading. And so there's a ton of really amazing applied cultural arts within that area. It also really, this department really highlights language and the need for language education, like Doug said, right? So this is where the Native Language Teacher Education Program, you can see on the right-hand side, this is where those language classes are housed within the Native American Studies Department. So you can see we have Kootenai and Salish language classes, which anybody throughout campus can take. And then we also have a partnership with the Salish Kalispel Culture Committee to implement an intensive Salish language apprentice program. That apprentice program can result in a certificate of completion, which is completed in 1 year. Also, that certificate of completion then leads into a 4-year, or can lead into a 4-year culture and language studies bachelor's degree, which this program is also at a request, was built at a request by community. And Atawin Inkashola, when I began in 2014, along with Dean and I and President Boham, met with Tony Inkashola, the director of the Salish Kalispel Culture Committee. And at that time, we were building the tribal governance program. And Atawin said, tribal governance is so important. We need people who can lead our tribes, who can protect our people and serve our people. But we also have a very high need for people who can perpetuate our culture and language. At that point, several years ago, 7-8 years ago, we had 25 Salish language speakers, first language Salish speakers. We're down to about 10 now, right? And so he was recognizing this need that was coming, and the fact that most of our cultural knowledge and language holders are nearing the age where they will be moving on. And so he asked for this help to build new folks who are teaching language, who are perpetuating our culture, and or doing a combination of all of those things, and are able to serve our communities in those ways. And then I already mentioned the partnership with the Division of Education and the Native Language Teacher Education Program. Dean, Lindy, will you go on to the next piece? Okay, Dean, would you like to share about the Tribal Historic Preservation Program?
Yeah, you bet. Well, Michael asked me yesterday if I would share some of the exciting things that are going on in our Tribal Historic Preservation Department. First, my name is Dean Nicolai. I am the department chair for the preservation program. I've been at SKC since 2014. And that's when Michael and I first met and started collaborating with all these kinds of things. So first of all, I want to say that our Tribal Historic Preservation Program is the only preservation program of its kind in the entire nation. If you want to get a background in cultural resource management, you can do that at several different places, universities across the nation, but you're not going to get an Indigenous perspective of, how do we treat material culture, things like that. So we're pretty unique. And I feel like our graduates that come out of our program are doing some really great things. So I was asked to highlight a couple of these things that we're actually doing, but first of all, I need to tell you that one of the requirements that we have in our program is students need to complete 12 credits of either internship or archaeological field school. So like most people at SKC, we wear many hats. So I'm not only an anthropologist, but I specialize in archaeology. So I'm an archaeologist, full-time faculty member, and collaborator. And the one I'm most proud of is collaboration, because without collaborating, we wouldn't have all these opportunities for the students that we have. So first of all, we have an MOU with the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation located in Washington, DC. And it's the overseer of cultural preservation throughout the nation. So pretty proud that we're able to collaborate in that kind of way. And we actually have had a student in an internship position with the Advisory Council through COVID, working from Montana. They actually have not been in their offices in DC since COVID started. So the student has been working from Montana, doing a lot of different things with the Advisory Council, and now is an employee of the Advisory Council in their Office of Indian Affairs. And she hasn't even graduated out of our program yet. So part of the MOU was that we were going to provide internships, do some other things, but now we are going to place another student in an internship role with the Advisory Council. And we actually have a meeting with them at 2:00. So I'll be jumping off of here right after this and going to that meeting to introduce Jordan Bush, who is our new student in the internship, to the Advisory Council. So that's pretty exciting. And there's actually a possibility for one of our other students to be working with the interim director of the Advisory Council, who is also the director of the Holocaust Museum in DC. And he right now is trying to figure out how we can get the student into an internship role with the Holocaust Museum. One of the things that we do is museum studies as well in our program. So this student is really interested in that. And so we're trying to provide something that might be really interesting for her. Next is of course, the archaeology component of our program. I held my field schools when I first started here in Glacier National Park for 3 years. And the way we did that is through the CESU system, which SKC is the only tribal college in that system. And so what it does is allows us to work with agencies and to bring in money from those agencies through that system. So I did my field school in Glacier National Park for 3 years. And then I started collaborating with the Yellowstone National Park. So we are now holding our field schools there. And so last year was our first field season in Yellowstone National Park. So we're the first tribal college, first Native American archaeologists to ever really do work in that park. So really proud of that as far as, our program and being able to accomplish that kind of thing. We are going back this summer as well. So we'll be back in the park, and it's actually Yellowstone's 150th anniversary. And Yellowstone is really trying to involve Native peoples within everything they're doing in the park. So I'm collaborating on 3 different projects with Yellowstone National Park. I'll get to one of those in just a second, but also we will be at Missouri Headwaters State Park for 2 weeks this summer as well. So our students will have 2 weeks in Yellowstone Archaeological Field School and 2 weeks at Missouri Headwaters. So that's really cool as well. And we'll be working with, of course, our culture committee to do an ethnographic interpretation for Missouri Headwaters as part of the component there. And then finally, because of the collaboration, I met an individual from the National Parks Conservation Association last year, and we started talking about how we could collaborate. And one of the things that we do understand is that there's a lack of Native presence in places where we can affect policy. So one of the ideas we came up with was that we would try to do a one-year fellowship for students that have graduated out of our program and to have that fully funded. So we accomplished that part. We are now fully funded. We're going to have a student starting in September working 4 months, the first 4 months with our CSKT, Tribal Historic Preservation Office. They will then move to Yellowstone National Park for 4 months until April of next year, and then with the National Parks Conservation Association for the final 4 months. And then we're working also to figure out like what, you know, the students' interests are, to make sure we have some really good things in place for them to be able to do what we want to do as far as affecting policy, of course. So it's just a great opportunity for our students coming out of our program. And if it's a success this first year, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed, it sounds like it'll be funded in the future as well for up to 3 students per year. So potentially all of our students coming out of our program can do this one-year fellowship and have a fully funded salary as an employee through the National Parks Conservation Association, which is a nonprofit, and housing paid for the full year as well. So just amazing opportunity. So anytime I have an opportunity to highlight these kinds of things with our program, I just jump at it, you know, because I think it's really important for other tribal colleges to see what we're doing and try to even collaborate with us in some ways if possible. In other institutions, I collaborate with University of Montana quite a bit as well. And I actually have graduate students that take our field school as a preference to U of M's field school. So it might be just that we have a different perspective on the things that we're doing. And so I practice non-invasive archaeology. So I'm not big into excavation, but what we really want to do is we want to preserve. So we identify on the ground what is there, what's cultural, and we map that through GIS. And then our students, you know, they get really good experience in doing all those kinds of things, identifying the material culture, and then we give that product then to the institution, whether it's Glacier National Park or Yellowstone. So thank you so much for allowing me to come on here and to highlight our program.
Thank you,
Thank
Dean.
you, Dean. And we kind of went over time a bit, so we're gonna try to quickly go
Sorry,
through
Wendy.
language instruction. Not a problem.
Okay, Nissa, we have Nissa Mendoza, who's a Kootenai language intern, who will real quick go over a couple greetings for Kootenai, and then we'll have our Salish folks as well. Go ahead, Nissa.
Hello, my name is Nissa. I work for the Kootenai Culture Committee. I'm a senior language apprentice. And the greetings that they have listed here are Husukil Kootenai, which means thank you or I am glad. Kisuk Wilnam, good morning. Kisuk Wilnam Apiniskif, good morning, everyone. Kisuk Kyukya, good day. Kisuk Kyukya Apiniskif, good day, everyone. Kisuk Kyukya, good afternoon. And Kisuk Ktsifmiyet, good evening.
Thank you, Nissa. And we'll go to Naomi for the Salish versions.
Escarchalt pa esia Naomi Bilidu Louis Quest till Enlgalk Uchiskeli. Lemlamsh pa esia Hulpatsia Piala. Thank you all for your time. It's an honor to be here. Lemlamsh, Lemlamsh, our Kootenai speaker, Nissa. I would love to take some more lessons from you. You did a beautiful job, Lemlamsh. The first word we're going to talk about is Lemlamsh. Thank you, Lemlamsh. And you guys can repeat after me. Lemlamsh. Lemlamsh. Chesquaquist is good morning. Chesquaquist. Chesquaquist. Good morning, everyone. Chesquaquist pa esia. Chesquaxt pa esia. Good day. Ches garchalt. Ches garchalt. Ches garchalt. Good day, everyone. Ches garchalt pa esia. Good afternoon. Ches senyak okay. Ches senyak okay. And good evening. Ches schelu. Lemlamsh. Lemlamsh pa esia. Lemlamsh wan.
Thank
Lindy.
you. Thank you, Naomi. And just real quick, last but not least, Lee Slater, who will briefly just talk about our digital information technology engineering. Lee? Did we lose Lee?
We just need
There we go.
unmuted.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. I'm a previous graduate of SKC. I'm now a IT and computer science and computer programming faculty member. This is my first year. I'm actually filling in for Drew, who could not be here today. He's our department chair. And but other faculty that we have are Dylan Kloster and Thomas Trickle. So this department has a pretty long history of really doing some outstanding things in the community. And there has been some faculty changes and stuff. And so we're kind of building up again, but it has been a really outstanding program. And the grants that have been written in the past have really provided us with a lot of really, really super good equipment. So as mentioned already previously, when students come here, they get a lot of time to just work on a one-on-one basis with instructors and really can have a chance of getting their certifications. So we offer an IT of Associate Science. We offer a pre-engineering certificate, and we offer also a certificate in digital fabrication. And so these certificates are 1-year certificates, and the Associate of Science is basically a 2-year. So also starting next fall, we're going to have a computer programming certificate and a computer science. So the computer programming will be basically a lot of web programming, which hopefully will have some interaction with the digital design team over on campus. The computer science is basically set up to allow a student to be able to transfer on to either U of M or MSU. And next slide, please. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but except to say that we do have really, really extensive facilities for students to really get a hands-on approach to understanding computers. And these are just skills that are going to be transcendent to whatever the student decides to do in the future. And so we're really excited about this program. Like I said, we're kind of building up and we're starting again, but students can come in and really learn a lot. Like I said, we have a lot of equipment, and they can get really a foundational understanding to go on and whatever they do. And STEM is just really, really super important. So that's basically it. I encourage you to try to send students our way. If you're at a different tribal college and you know students that have a strong IT interest, please have them contact us. We'd love to see them. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Lee. Juan, can you conclude?
Okay, go ahead, Emily. Take it away.
Oh, you all, I don't know how you put so much amazing information into it, and you made it on time. Y'all, good job. Big round of applause if you want to come off mute so that you can help me give a round of applause to SKC